Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Heinzel, bringing you guys another video here today, and this time we're going to be talking about some Battlefield. So over this past weekend, the Battlefield 2042 open beta was live and available for everyone to play, no matter what platform you were on. And I didn't get as much playtime into this beta as I wanted to, mainly because of work. I was just way too busy, and I did not have a ton of downtime. But I played whenever I could, and I feel like I played enough to form an opinion on the game. I got to try out pretty much everything in the game, all the weapons, the specialist abilities, the equipment, the vehicles, even though I was god-awful with the vehicles, my god, especially the helicopters. I suck at flying those things, but nonetheless, I still had fun, and there was only one map and one game mode, so not a ton of content, but definitely enough to get a feel for the game. And honestly, I just want to go ahead and say, even as bug-infested as this beta was, which is what I'm going to be talking about for most of this video, I still enjoyed this beta way more than I enjoyed both weekends of the Call of Duty Vanguard beta, so yeah. So while we're already on a good note, I want to go ahead and list off some of the pros of this game and give DICE credit where credit is due. So the graphics look really good in my opinion. I've seen some people say that the graphics somehow look bad and that they look like a downgrade. I don't know how they got to that conclusion, but to each their own, I guess. I personally think the graphics looked amazing. No complaints there. The dynamic weather and tornadoes was a really cool addition. The tornadoes don't even really interfere with the gameplay as much as some people might have thought they would. Most of the time when they spawn in on like the edge of the map, so you really have to go out of your way to even go, experience the tornado and be sucked up by it, which I got to do once. It was pretty cool, but yeah, I like the dynamic weather. While the movement in this game definitely does feel different from past Battlefield games, I personally think it's a good addition. The sliding in this game feels more like Apex Legends than past Battlefield games or COD games. And speaking of COD, they pretty much added tactical sprint from Modern Warfare and Warzone. I like the changes. It's definitely a controversial topic. Some people hate it, some people love it. Me personally, I think it makes the game feel a little bit more arcadey, which, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is completely up to you. It depends on your playstyle and your preferences. But me personally, I like it. So there's that. The gunplay felt pretty solid. I don't really have any complaints there. The specialist equipment, mainly the grapple hook, was really fun to use. I feel like the grapple hook was probably the best one out of all the specialist equipment, so I don't know how balanced that the specialists are going to be, but yeah, I can say that the grapple hook definitely felt very fun to use. It felt really good traversing buildings with that, and I've seen clips of people grappling onto helicopters and then pulling out their rocket launcher while they're in the air and taking them down. Definitely makes for some cool gameplay moments. And then I really like the plus system, which basically, if you don't know what that is, it's basically where you can change your attachments sort of on the go. You don't have to redeploy just to change attachments. I really like that addition. And then the last thing I'm going to list off here that I really like was the ability to actually call in vehicles. So if you're just out in the field and you don't have any vehicle nearby, rather than having to, redeploy yourself, you can actually just call in like a rover or, some kind of vehicle, so that way you can actually have transportation around the map, which I think is really nice. It's a really nice addition. So those were pretty much all the pros that I wanted to list off here really quick. There might be more that I mention later on, but yeah. So I gotta be honest with you guys though. As much fun and enjoyment as I got out of Battlefield over this past beta, I would be lying to you guys if I said that this game was not absolutely infested with bugs and glitches. And in my honest opinion, I hope I'm wrong, but I really don't think that this game is going to be ready for launch next month. Now, they've already delayed this game once. If you guys remember, this game was supposed to come out this month in October. They have delayed it until November 19th, which is good on them. But me personally, I would recommend delaying it another month or two. I don't think that this game's going to be ready come November 19th. That's only a month and a week away, and yeah. Now, they did say that supposedly that this is a 2-month-old build, which doesn't make any sense to me, because on one hand, if this really is a 2-month build, why are we playing on an older build rather than the more current one? Because we might be finding bugs and glitches and optimization issues and balancing issues that are not present in the current build that they have. So, it's almost like the feedback would be, almost useless. And on the other hand, they could be lying to us. This could be the current build of the game, and they might just be saying that to calm our nerves, which I personally think that's the case. I know it kind of sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I think that this is not 2 months old. If it is, it doesn't make any sense to me why we're playing a 2-month-old build. And if it's not, if this is the current build, then my god, this game is definitely not going to be ready for launch by November 19th. Look, if they have to delay this game until early 2022, that's fine with me. Delay the game for as much time as you need. I don't want this game to undergo the same fate as Battlefield 4. As you guys know, Battlefield is no stranger to releasing broken games. Now, I personally didn't play Battlefield 4 at launch. I played it months later, but I still kept up with the game, and I still kept up with YouTubers that were covering the game. And that game was an absolute mess when it came out. And I really just don't want Battlefield 2042's reputation to be tarnished by the same thing. I just want this game to come out in a complete acceptable state, because I absolutely love the core gameplay of this game. So I'm sure if you guys look on YouTube and the Battlefield 2042 subreddit or whatever they have, I'm sure you'll find endless amounts of clips of people showing off different bugs and glitches within the game. And so I'm not going to list every single one off here, because there would just be way too many. But I do have a small list here. These are the bugs that I personally encountered while playing the game. So on certain weapons, I think it was mainly only the AK, but it could have been a few more weapons, I'm not sure. But whenever I would use the AK, and I would change up my attachments, like put some red dot sights on and some barrels on and all that, every time I would respawn, my gun would have no attachments on it, and I would have to reattach the attachments again. It didn't do that on any other gun, because it's not supposed to. You're supposed to be able to retain your attachments that you attach throughout all your lives until you change weapons or some shit like that. But for some reason on the AK, it would keep resetting itself. So that's definitely very annoying. One other thing I noticed with the customization on the weapons is sometimes my optic sights would change by themselves. Like anytime that I would be putting on a barrel or a magazine or a grip, I wouldn't even touch the red dot sights. And whenever I would be done customizing, it would just put a red dot sight on, or another optic sight on by itself. It would just change by itself. I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but I definitely did, so hopefully that's fixed. Speaking of things not working, the ammo box, and I think people also said the medkit box didn't work either, but they just simply don't work. I mean, half the time I would run out of ammo, and I would throw down the ammo box, and I would still be out of ammo, so I would just be absolutely screwed. Well, that was until I learned that one other exploit with the weapon plus attachment system is if you guys are ever out of ammo, you can just switch mags and you'll have full ammo again. So that's definitely an exploit that needs to be looked at. But yeah, ammo box and apparently the healing box did not even work half the time. It's like they weren't even there, you know. You would use it, you wouldn't get anything out of it. You would have to wait until the next one or pick up another weapon, or you would just be screwed. I don't know if there was something I was doing wrong with this, or if there's just something I'm not catching on to, but you know how I mentioned how you can call in vehicles in the middle of your life so you don't have to redeploy? Well, most of the time when I would try this, it simply just would not work. And it did the same thing, like whenever I was redeploying and I was trying to spawn in a vehicle. So like if I was trying to spawn in a tank or an attack helicopter, sometimes, you know, it would be like blue. You know, there would be vehicles available to spawn in, but it just simply would not work. Now, like I said, I don't know if I'm just not catching something or if that's just another bug, but, you know, that's just something I noticed, and hopefully that's fixed if that is a bug. This last bug only happened to be once, but there was one game where a few of the flags, the capture points, just did not spawn in. So normally you would have A flag, B flag, C1, C2, D1, D2, E and F flags, right, to capture for Conquest. I had one game where the A flag and the D1 and D2 flags just were not there. So all we had were B, C, E and F. I don't I don't know how that happened. I don't know if that happened to anyone else, but I definitely noticed it for one game. So even if it's a rare bug, hopefully it's fixed. And obviously there was a ton of visual glitches. I had a lot of flickering on my screen and textures not loading in. I want to talk about last gen real quick because last gen is just awful. I played on the Xbox Series X version for most of the beta, but since there was no crossplay between current gen and last gen users, I actually also ended up downloading the Xbox One version on my Series X so that I would be able to play the game with one of my friends. And while I only played 1 or 2 games, I can tell you guys right now, the last gen version, or at least the Xbox One version, I can't speak for PS4, but I would assume it's just as bad. But the last gen version, in my experience anyway, is absolutely horrendous. I mean, all the visual issues that I just talked about, that being, textures not loading in, and, there was a lot of frame drop issues. On last gen, it's just even worse. Yes, the problems exist on the Series X, and I would assume the PC and PS5 as well. But my god, everything is just multiplied by like 10 when it comes to the last gen version. And honestly, unless they make major improvements, I said this about Vanguard, and I'll say the same about this game, but if they don't make major improvements to the optimization and stability for last gen consoles, do not buy this game if you're on PS4 or Xbox One, man. I cannot recommend it. There's a few other things that I listed on here as cons. They're not necessarily bugs or glitches, but they're just things that I really did not like about the game. The first one is that while I do like that how we can customize our weapons on the go and not have to redeploy for it, unfortunately this is the only way to actually customize your weapon. You can't customize your attachments in the menu or in the redeployment screen. You can't do any of that. The only way you can do it is in-game. And, I just don't like that because I don't like having to spawn in every single match and have to redo my attachments. I really hope that in the full game they allow us to customize our weapons in the main menu as we have been able to in other Battlefield games. Don't get me wrong, the Plus system is an awesome addition, definitely keep it, but I don't feel like that should be the only way to customize our weapon. Personally, the map seems a little bit too big in my opinion. There was definitely a lot of downtime where you're just kind of running around. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can definitely call in vehicles to traverse the map easier, or you can even just simply redeploy and respawn somewhere else. But I don't know, me personally, I think the map needs to be trimmed down just a little bit. It feels a little bit too big. I just don't feel like it's scaled properly between the map size and the amount of players. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, since there are specialists in this game, there's no factions, so everyone just kind of looks the same, and it's kind of hard to tell who's enemy and who's friendly at times. Hopefully they make this a little bit better. I think that they could combat this by adding kind of like what they did with Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, if you guys ever played that. Like how on friendlies they had little blue LED lights, and on the enemies they had red LED lights. Well, since this game is kind of near futuristic, I feel like they could honestly get away with that. They don't have to worry about the realism of it or anything. So hopefully they do that, or hopefully they do something to, allow us to have better visibility. And with that being said, that's pretty much all the bad things I wanted to talk about with this game. Like I said, I really personally don't think that this game's going to be ready for launch by November 19th, but I really, really hope I'm wrong. I mean, EA and DICE, if y'all need more time, please, by all means, please delay the game. The last thing us gamers want is a broken game at release. You can't just, go and charge $70-$100 for a game and then not have it work properly and run like shit for the first month or two. That is absolutely an unacceptable business practice. Y'all have made the same mistake with Battlefield 4 in the past. Please don't let history repeat itself here. With that being said, I know for sure that when they do eventually get this game to an acceptable state and it comes out, my god, this is going to be an amazing game to play. And I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this game even further. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I've kind of rambled on long enough, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. Let me know down in the comments, did you guys get a chance to play Battlefield 2042 over this past weekend? If you did, what do you think of the game? Do you think that it's going to be ready for launch in time, or do you think they need to delay it further? Be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video, or feel free to leave a dislike if you didn't. There's no hard feelings. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out, everybody.